Good morning, students. I hope you all are well. Today we are starting our second part of the chapter called sound. In this chapter, in the earlier classes, we have studied what is sound, how the sound is produced, what is the science behind the production of sound, how the sound is produced in humans, how we can hear the sound. We have seen the mechanism of human ear. We have seen in the different musical instruments how the sound works, how the different musical instrument works, and we have seen that because of the vibration sound is produced. So I am just taking a quick revision of what we have studied, then I'll start the next part of our chapter. Okay, so again a very good morning to all of you. So our chapter is sound. First we have discussed about these musical instruments. Now these musical instruments are different from each other because their vibrating parts are different. Like if we talk about these drums have a stretch membrane. Whenever we hit this stretch membrane vibrate, and because of the vibrations we can hear the sound. So the vibrating part in these drums is the stretch string. Not stretch membrane, sorry, not stretch string, it's a stretch membrane. Now if we talk about guitar has a stretch strings. You can see these are the stretch strings. Now because of the stretch string, the vibrations of stretch strings, we can hear the sound. Okay, now the flute has some air columns. You can see the air columns in the flute. These air columns, when we blow the air in the flute, these air columns vibrate. Basically the vibration of the air column, we can hear the sound. Okay, now of course sound plays a very vital role in our daily life. We can communicate because of the sound. If there is no sound, how can we communicate with each other? How can we understand the different languages of different cultures? So sound is very important. Now the science behind the sound is because of the vibrations. Whenever there is a vibration, we can hear a sound. If there is no vibrations, we cannot hear the sound. Suppose I'll give you an activity. Take a steel plate and hit that plate with a hard spoon. Okay, with a hard spoon, hit that plate. You can hear the sound, and when you hear the sound, you can see some vibrations on the plate also. Now because of these vibrations, when you take the plate and put it very hard, the vibrations stop. Okay, and the sound is also stopped. So because of the stop of vibration, and because we cannot hear the sound, we can relate that sound and vibrations are both interrelated. Because of the vibrations there is sound, and because of the sound there is vibrations. Okay, this we have already talked, that these musical instruments have these vibrating part producing sound, like stretch string, stretch membrane, air column. Okay, now next, because these things we have studied in the earlier video, I am just taking a revision. Okay, you can see there are some different musical instrument. Okay, like this is the Shehnai. This Shehnai has some air columns. You can see these air columns. Okay, these are some air columns. Because of the air column, when we blow air from here, the air in these column vibrate, producing sound. Okay, now this damru, this drum, okay, these all have this stretch membrane. Now because of the stretch membrane vibration, we can hear the sound, and these all objects have the stretch string which produce the sound. Now because of the striking also, we can hear the sound. When we strike any object, it produces vibration. So these all are some examples of vibrations. Okay, now sound produced by humans. Right now we have studied that because of the vibration sound is produced. Now if I am speaking, how can the sound is produced from me? If there is vibration, where are these vibrations coming from? Just do an activity. Whenever you are speaking, just put your finger on your throat like this. Just put your finger here. Whenever you are speaking, you feel some vibration. So of course from here are some I think membrane which produces vibration, and we can speak and we can produce sound. Now when we go deeper, we have a voice box. In this throat we have a voice box, or that voice box is also termed as larynx. We can see here. Okay, this is called larynx. Now in this larynx there are some vocal cords. There are two vocal cords. These vocal cords are basically stretch muscles. You can see here, these are the stretch muscles. So whenever we blow air from the lungs, these stretch muscles or these vocal cords vibrate, and when these vocal cords vibrates, we can produce the sound. Now why the sound is different in adults, in infant, in babies, and in women, in men? Why the sound is different? Because of the size of vocal cord. The size of vocal cord in men is larger than the size of vocal cord in females and in babies. The size of vocal cord different in each other. That's why the sound is also different. Now of course a sound requires some medium to propagate. If we talk about, we have three medium: solid, liquid and gas. Okay, we have three matter which is solid, liquid and gas. Now is sound can travel in all three medium? Let's discuss it with an activity. Suppose you have a steel scale, and you are hitting that scale with some hard object. You can hear the vibrations to the other end also, other end of the scale. Or suppose you are having a bench, okay, you are hitting one end of the bench and you can hear the sound to the other end also. So that is some example where the sound can travel in solid also. Okay, this is an example. Second, if we talk about liquids, in liquids, suppose you are having a water full of bathtub and you are placing a bell. Okay, just a simple bell. You are placing a bell inside the water and you are hitting that bell. Okay, you are producing sound from that bell. Of course you can hear the sound inside the water also. So by this activity we can say that sound can travel in liquids. Now the next is gases. Of course right now what I am speaking, the other person standing beside me, they can also hear my voice. So of course sound can travel in gases also. So sound can travel in all solid, liquid and gases. But the speed of sound is different in all three categories. Why the speed of sound is different in all three categories? Because the particles are very close to each other in solids. In liquid the particles are little bit far away, and in gases they are freely moving. That's why when the sound is produced in these medium, the speed is also different. Like in solid the speed is very high. Like the propagation of sound, it is maximum in solid, then in liquid, then in gas. This is the way in which the speed of sound work. Okay, you can see here how these dolphins, they can communicate with other fishes, or the other fishes, how they can communicate. Of course these vibrations they can travel in liquids. So when these vibrations strike to the other fish, they can easily know that the prey of that fish is on that direction and they move in that particular direction. Now there is one more medium other than solid, liquid and gas, which is called vacuum. What is vacuum? Vacuum is the state of no air. When there is no air, we term that state as vacuum. Like vacuum is present in the space. Now the sound can travel in vacuum? No, sound cannot travel in vacuum, because there is no medium, there are no particles so that the sound can travel. Okay, that's why sound cannot travel in vacuum. Okay, this is the bell jar experiment. In bell jar experiment we can easily say that the sound cannot travel. Now I can explain you the bell jar experiment. What is bell jar experiment? In bell jar experiment we can say that this is a bell jar. Now we have connected a air pump to it. This is the air pump. Now when the air is removed from this bell jar, the surrounding become vacuum. Okay, when the surrounding become vacuum, and we have placed a bell also. When this bell strike, this is the thong and the hammer, when the hammer strike the bell, we cannot hear any sound. Why we cannot hear any sound? Because there are no particles. When there are no particles, okay, because we have removed all the air, We have removed all the air. So when the air is removed, there is no particles and we cannot hear the sound. Sound is not there. So this experiment is basically bell jar experiment. So I hope you have understood the bell jar experiment. Okay. The whole is called the bell jar experiment. Now the other topic. How we can hear the sound through our ears? Basically our ear is in the shape of a funnel. This is the outer part of the ear, this is the middle part, and this is the inner part of the ear. The outer part of the ear is called pinna. When the sound travels through this pinna, and there is an auditory canal. When the sound travels through this auditory canal, at the end of the auditory canal there is an eardrum. So when the sound hit the eardrum, that eardrum vibrates, and that vibration goes through the inner ear. Inner ear there is a cochlea. This cochlea changes the vibration to electric signals, because our brain only understands electric signals. So when these electric signals reaches to our brain, we can hear the sound, because our brain cannot understand the vibration. It can only understand the electric signals. So the work of cochlea, that inner part of the ear, is to convert vibrations to electric signals and send these electric signals to the brain, and we can hear the sound. Okay, so this is the whole mechanism of our human ear. Now the main topics: amplitude, time period, and frequency of the vibration. Now vibration is to and fro motion of an object. It is also called oscillatory motion. What is vibration? Vibration is a to and fro motion. To and fro motion means, like in a pendulum, suppose this is the mean position of a pendulum. This pendulum goes to A position, bring to the again mean position, then again go back to the B part. This is the to and fro motion. When this pendulum is going in the forward direction, coming back to the mean position, and again going to the back direction, this is the to and fro motion. This to and fro motion is termed as vibration or oscillatory motion. Okay, the maximum displacement of an oscillating body from its central position is called its amplitude. Now the maximum displacement, the maximum displacement here, OA and OB are the amplitude. So what definition we can give to amplitude? It is the maximum displacement of a vibrating object to its mean position is called the amplitude. Higher the amplitude, louder the voice. Louder will be the voice. So loudness depends on the amplitude of the sound. Second, we have frequency. Frequency is basically number of vibrations per second. How many vibrations it is undergoing in 1 second is called the frequency. Suppose there is a vibrating object which is producing 100 vibrations in 1 second. So the frequency of that object, of that vibrating body, will be 100 hertz. The SI unit of frequency is hertz, okay, or Hz. Now the time period. Time period will be how much time it is taking to produce one vibration is called the time period, and it is just opposite to the frequency. Okay. The motion of the pendulum from one extreme position to the other extreme position and back is called the oscillation. A to B is the whole oscillation of this pendulum. The time taken for one oscillation is called the time period, and the number of oscillations per second is called the frequency. The unit of frequency is hertz. Let me explain you with other example. I am just giving you an example of rubber band. Here it has given an example of pendulum. I am giving you an example of rubber band because in rubber band we can see the vibrations. Okay. Suppose I have a rubber band, a tightly stretched rubber band. This is the rubber band. Okay. When I am striking this rubber band of course do the to and fro motion, and it produces the vibration like this. Suppose this is the mean position O. Now this rubber band going from O to A direction, coming back from O and going to B. Now this is a simple example. Now the amplitude, first is amplitude. Amplitude is the maximum displacement of an vibrating object from its mean position. So this is the mean position. So the maximum displacement it is doing is the amplitude. Here OA and OB are the amplitude. Okay, these are the amplitude. Now the frequency is 1 second how many vibration, how many to and fro motion this rubber band is undergoing. This is the frequency. Okay, frequency we can consider as number of vibrations per second also. Number of vibrations per second is also called frequency. This is called frequency. Okay, and last is time period. Time period is how much time is taking to do one vibration is called the time period. Okay, like suppose it is doing one vibration in 2 seconds. Okay, so this the time period will become 2 seconds. Let me give you an example so that you can easily understand this. Suppose vibrating object produce 60 vibration or 600 vibration in 1 minute. Okay, we want to know what is frequency and what is time period here. If you want to give me answer, you can give the answer in the comment section. Okay, now let me again speak the question. A vibrating object produces 600 vibrations in 1 minute. What is the frequency and what is the time period? Now there is a vibrating object which is producing 600 vibration, that means to and fro motion, 600 to and fro motion in 1 minute. What will be the frequency and what is the time period? Now there is a formula for frequency. Number of vibrations divided by time taken is called the frequency. So for the frequency, frequency is of course number of vibrations divided by time taken. Divided by time taken. Now how many vibrations are given? 600 vibrations. Time taken is 1 minute. We'll not consider it the time in minute, we'll consider time in second, because the SI unit, the universal SI unit of time is always in seconds. Okay, we always consider time in seconds. So in 1 minute how many seconds are there? 60. So we get 60 by 6 is 10. 10 hertz is the frequency of this vibrating object. That means in 1 second this object is producing 10 vibrations. Of course the frequency is number of vibrations per second, so the frequency of this object will be 10 hertz. Second is time period. Time period is the reciprocal of frequency or 1 upon frequency. So 1 upon 10 will be 0.1. So this is the time period of this vibrating object, that is 0.1 second. So this is the whole concept of amplitude, frequency and time period. These three topics are very important for your course, because every time there will be a question regarding these topics. So whatever questions you can go through, please remember these formula. Frequency is number of vibrations divided by time taken, and the time period is 1 upon frequency. Always remember this formula. Okay, if you want to take screenshot, you can take the screenshot also. Now the loudness and pitch of the sound. Right now we have studied about the amplitude, what is frequency, what is time period. Okay, now there is another phenomena related to sound, is pitch and loudness. What is loudness and what is pitch? The loudness is the higher voice of any sound. Okay, suppose there are two persons, they are talking with one another, the loudness is different in both categories. Okay, suppose a person A and a person B, they are speaking with the different voices. Okay, so that is the loudness, and loudness always depend on the amplitude. Right now we have discussed about the amplitude. Amplitude is the maximum displacement of any vibrating object from its mean position is called the amplitude. So whenever the amplitude is higher, the voice of any sound will also be in the higher. Okay, the loudness will increase. So we can say that loudness is always depends on amplitude. We can add a word here that loudness depends on amplitude. Okay, every time you hear the loudness, always remember if the voice is more higher, the amplitude is also higher. Now the pitch. The loudness of sound depends upon the amplitude of vibration. If the amplitude is less, then the sound is feeble. If the amplitude is more, sound will be loud. If there is very less amplitude, the sound will be feeble, very feeble. And if the amplitude is larger, the sound will be very loud. And the unit of loudness is decibel. We always hear the sound, we measure the sound always in decibel or dB. Suppose the normal breathing sound is 10 decibel. Okay, and the loudness, the noise we can hear, the machinery in the industries, that will be of 80 decibel. Okay, that will be of 80 decibel. Normal communication is of 50 decibel. Okay, if we are talking at a very feeble sound, okay, that is of 20 to 30 decibel. Okay, it varies. Now the pitch of sound depends upon the frequency of vibration. If the frequency is less, then the sound has low pitch. You have ever heard the sound of different musical instruments, like a drum produces different sound as compared to the sound of a guitar. Why the sound is different in a guitar and in the drum? Because there is a difference in the pitch. If there is a difference in the pitch, we hear the sound as different. That is the shrillness of the sound, or the sharpness of the sound is called the pitch. Like the buzzing of mosquito. Okay, the buzzing of mosquito, the sound is very feeble, but the buzzing of mosquito can irritate you. That means the pitch is very high of the mosquito. If we want to know about a roaring of a lion, okay, if we talk about roaring of lion, the loudness is very high in the roaring of lion, but the sound cannot irritate us because the pitch is very low. And if we compare the sound of a male and a female, of course the pitch is different and we can hear the different sound. So the pitch depends on the frequency, as the loudness depends on the amplitude. In the same way, pitch depends on the frequency. Pitch depends on frequency. Higher the frequency, higher will be the pitch. Lower the frequency, lower will be the pitch of the sound. If the frequency is more, the sound has a high pitch. Example, sound of a whistle, sound of a baby, etc. Audible and inaudible sounds. Our human ear can only hear between 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Below 20 Hz we cannot hear the sound. Above 20,000 Hz we cannot hear the sound. So the audible range of sound is always between 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Our human ear only understands the sound which is having frequency between 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Below 20 Hz frequency we cannot hear the sound. Above 20,000 Hz frequency we cannot hear the sound. Okay, so the sound which we can hear is called the audible sound, and the sound which we cannot hear is termed as inaudible sound. Okay, a sound which we can hear, it has a frequency between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz, between 20 and 20,000 vibrations per second. That means if we are hearing a 20,000 Hz frequency, the meaning of that is that object is producing 20,000 vibrations in 1 second. Okay, inaudible is sound which we cannot hear. It has frequency less than 20 Hz and more than 20,000 Hz. Sound whose frequencies are more than 20,000 Hz is called ultrasonic sound. Some animals like dogs can hear ultrasonic sound. Bats produces ultrasonic sound. So we cannot hear ultrasonic sound, but there are some animals which can hear ultrasonic sound, like dogs can hear ultrasonic sound. Bats can produce ultrasonic sounds. Okay. Noise and music. Noise is unpleasant sound are called noise. It is produced by irregular vibration. If all the students in a classroom speak together, a noise is produced. Sound produced by horns of buses and trucks. So there is a difference between noise and music. Noise is always termed when we feel irritation, when we are not understanding any sound, that is termed as noise. And noise is produced when there are different vibrations in an object. Like in a classroom, all the students are speaking together, then of course it is termed as noise. And the music is always a pleasant sound, which is pleasant for your ear is called the music. Sound which is pleasing to the ear is called musical sound. It is produced by regular vibration. Sound produced by musical instrument, sound of a person singing a song. Now the noise pollution. The presence of excessive or unwanted sound in the environment is called noise pollution. Now when there is so much of noise in the surroundings, we term it as a noise pollution. Now what are the harmful effects of noise pollution? Noise pollution is caused by sound of vehicles, explosions including bursting of crackers, machines, loudspeakers, etc. In the home, noise pollution is caused by television, radio and music systems at high volume, some kitchen appliances, desert cooler, air conditioner, etc. Now noise pollution can be in our homes also and can be outside of our homes also. If we are going to a busy traffic area, we can hear some noises like horns, the voice coming from the engine of a bus or truck. So noise can be produced in our homes also. Like if you are watching a television, on the higher volume, it can also term as noise. Now what are the harmful effects of noise? Noise pollution causes severe health related problems like lack of sleep, hypertension, high blood pressure, anxiety, etc. A person exposed to loud sound continuously may get temporary or permanent impairment of hearing. Of course, it can make hypertension. Hypertension is when your blood pressure is high, it's termed as hypertension. So when you are living near a noise polluted area, it can be termed that you can suffer from hypertension, and you can have permanent or very less hearing because of the noise pollution. How can we control noise pollution? If you are at home, please watch the sound, please watch the television at very low volume, or go to the parks, because in the park you can see many trees, they can absorb the sound, so you cannot feel any noise there. Measure of limit noise pollution. Noise pollution can be reduced by using silencers in vehicles, industries, machine and home appliances, reducing use of vehicles, horns, running TV, radio and music system at low volume. Planting of trees along roads and buildings also help to reduce noise pollution. We can see these are some pictures where noise pollution can be created. So from this our chapter is completed. I hope you all have enjoyed the chapter. You all have got the questions related to sound. What is sound, how it is produced, how it is termed, what is the science behind the sound, if a vibration is produced, how can we term these in a different categories. So I hope you all have enjoyed today's class. Thank you everyone, have a nice day.